You ever spend years waiting for just one day? Not a big trip, not some corner office with your nameplate, just a single blink and you miss it moment that means the world. For me, that was the day I watched my son, Caleb, walk across a high school stage in San Bernardino and grab that diploma. Yeah, that happened. All I wanted was a seat, didn't care if it was metal or plastic, front row or back row, just so long as I could see him make that walk. I'd waited long enough. That morning, I was up before dawn, some old Marine habits you never shake off. I had my uniform spread out on the bed, white gloves, medals, the whole get up just like I used to back in the barracks. Hadn't worn those blues since the day they handed me retirement papers, 5 years back. But today, it wasn't about me. It was about my boy, about a promise I made back when he needed a dad more than a drill sergeant. I caught my reflection, uniform still sharp as ever, medals lined up like soldiers, each one pinned through a scar or a memory that still lingered. Those medals, they're not for show. They're for the folks who never made a home. Sometimes, you wear them just to remember who you are. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, the smell of burned toast drifted in. Caleb, always the engineer, couldn't cook to save his life. "Dad, you ready?" he called. I stepped out, boots clicking, and he just froze cap and gown, all nerves until he caught sight of me. Then he grinned. "You look serious." I told him, "It's a serious day." We laughed, but you could feel something heavy in the room, like we both knew this was bigger than any graduation. Driving over, the place was chaos, families with giant posters, neon hair, old folks in lawn chairs, all crammed around Roosevelt High's football field. Some came dressed up, some looked like they just rolled out of bed. Me? I didn't blend in, and I didn't try. Honor's funny that way stands out, whether you want it to or not. I took a seat about 6 rows from the back, close enough to see, far enough not to make a scene. People stared a little longer than they needed to, like they weren't sure what to make of a Marine in dress blues at a high school graduation. I kept my eyes forward, found Caleb in the sea of gowns. I was proud, and I was content until the security showed up. 2 guys, mid-30s, pressed khakis, clipboards in hand, making a beeline right for me. They stopped. One said, "Excuse me, sir, could you step aside?" I gave him a look, the kind you save for trouble you didn't invite. "About what?" I asked. "Some guests feel uncomfortable," he said, trying to sound like this was normal. "We want everyone to blend in, keep things low-key." I looked down at my medals, then back up. "This is my formal," I told him. He coughed, tried again. "Yes, sir, but the uniform is drawing attention. We just want to focus on the graduates." I had to laugh at that. Nothing says distraction like a Marine sitting in the back, minding his business. The folks nearby went quiet, conversations dipping low. You could feel the temperature drop, like everyone was waiting to see if something was about to break. Security leaned in, dropping their voices, but I kept mine steady. I served 20 years. I buried friends. I stood on airstrips and watched flag-draped coffins. I never asked anyone to make space for May earned it. The guards hesitated, looking more uncomfortable by the second. Then a voice behind me, a woman soft but strong, said, "He's just watching the ceremony. Leave him alone." Another voice joined in, and now the pressure wasn't just on me anymore. But security doubled down, asking me to leave. I didn't budge. I told them, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to watch my son." They threatened to bring in a supervisor. I kept my focus forward, catching Caleb's profile on the field, thinking, "You're not moving me." Then something unexpected, a new voice from behind, cutting through the tension. A man, sleeves rolled up, tattoos fading, walked down the bleachers like he owned the place. "Darnell?" he asked. I looked over and recognized Eli Mendoza, an old Marine buddy from Ramadi. He gave a nod, turned to the guards, and said, "This man served with me. 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines." The guards tried to brush him off, but Eli's presence said more than his words. One by one, more men stood up around the stands, guys built like brick walls, a few in baseball caps, all watching, all quiet. Brothers, not by blood, but by service. 6 of them, scattered, suddenly making it clear this wasn't about one man and his uniform. It was about all of us. You know what I mean? The security guards wilted. You could see them realize they were outnumbered in every way that mattered. "We'll notify admin," one muttered and backed off, but that wasn't the end of it. The principal herself, Dr. Fulton, came down next. She looked like she was trying to keep the peace, polite but firm, asking if I'd mind speaking with her. I stood up, not to challenge her, but to meet her eye. She started, "Some guests feel the uniform is a bit much, might distract from the ceremony," but I cut in, careful but honest. "I wore this uniform to funerals, retirements, promotions. Today, I wear it to watch my son become a man. I didn't bring a flag. I didn't make a scene. I just sat down early and waited." Eli stepped up too. "We all wore that same uniform," he added. "None of us asked for attention. We came to honor a man who deserves to be here like any father." The principal blinked, realizing maybe, just maybe, this wasn't about rules or appearances. I asked her, if I'd worn a hoodie, will we be having this conversation? She didn't know. I told her that's the problem. Someone in the stands clapped, then a few more followed. Not loud, not a protest, just respect, simple and real. Dr. Fulton apologized. I told her I was never leaving. She nodded and walked away. Things settled down, but you could feel the crowd still buzzing, everyone waiting for the next thing. Halfway through the ceremony, some guy in a white polo stood up, waving his phone, saying, "This isn't a military event. Can we get back to the students?" Before he finished, Eli and the other Marines stood again, no words, just presence. The guy sat down real fast. That's the thing about respect. Sometimes you don't have to say a word. A little later, a woman from the school board tried to restart the debate, saying, "This isn't Arlington. It's just a football field." Dr. Fulton finally stepped in, saying, "The focus is on the people who raised these students. Mr. Hughes has done nothing but honor his son. If that makes you uncomfortable, maybe ask yourself why." Some clapped, some just sat with it, but you could see minds shifting. All I wanted was to see Caleb cross that stage. When his name was called, everything else faded. He walked steady, shoulders back, eyes locked on mine. I stood up not to make a point, just because a moment like that deserves all of you. Caleb gave me a nod, small, real, just enough. He took his diploma, turned, and the crowd clapped not just for him, but for everything that moment meant. When I sat down, the air felt different. Nobody was whispering anymore. Nobody was uncomfortable. The only thing left was respect. It wasn't loud, but it was there. What folks remembered later wasn't the medals, or the arguments, or even the principal's speech. It was that no one stands alone, not really, and that a son walks taller when his father never sits down at the wrong time. Some moments, you don't need a spotlight or a headline. You just need someone to hold their ground. I didn't come to be noticed. I came to see my son. But in doing that, maybe I reminded a few folks what real respect looks like and how quick we can lose it or bring it back just by showing up for each other. So yeah, maybe it's not about the uniform. It's about presence. It's about having people who will stand with you, even when you never asked. Let this be a reminder. For anyone listening, sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stay seated. Other times, it's standing for someone else. If this story moved you, share your thoughts. Tell me where you draw the line between respect and comfort, between rules and doing what's right. Because next time, you just might be the one who needs someone to stand with you.